Following strange case took place in 2016, where an Australian family went on a road trip that led to bizarre circumstances, leaving the police and medical authorities totally baffled as to what brought about this strange family behaviour and eventual breakdown. This story is about a family of 5 who on the spur of the moment undertook a road trip where they all became divided, only to turn up one by one after a week-long nightmare of more than 1,600 kilometres, ending with a police investigation and 2 of them in psychiatric care. The Tromp family appeared by all accounts to be a hard-working Australian family that ran a successful red currant farm and earth-moving business at their property in the small town of Sylvan, situated in the picturesque Dandenong Ranges 40 kilometres east of Melbourne, Victoria. The family were Mark, 51, his wife Jacoba, 53, and their 3 adult children, Rihanna, 29, Mitchell, 25, and Ella, 22. One day, on the 29th of August 2016, the family appeared to flee their home in a panic, leaving behind their credit cards, mobile phones, passports, and then drove north. Without warning, they dropped everything and fled. However, the only family member to take his phone was Mitchell, but when they reached the town of Warburton, only 30 kilometres from their home in Sylvan, they found out that he was carrying his mobile phone and made him throw it out of the car window, convinced it was being used to track them. It appears that the cards, phones, passports were deliberately left behind, fearing that if they were to use them, they could be located any time or anywhere. They had obviously only taken cash to evade whatever they believed was following them by staying off the grid. The family drove in their daughter's Ella's silver Peugeot SUV and drove both day and night till they felt they had reached a safe distance. They arrived at a town west of Sydney called Bathurst in New South Wales. They had driven non-stop for 800 kilometres. It was in Bathurst on the 30th of August that their son Mitchell had obviously had enough and decided to leave, where he appeared to be the only one in the family not swept up in the belief that they were in danger. He later said that he had gone along to ensure they would all be safe, but that his parents became increasingly delusional and hard to tolerate. Later that morning, the remaining family members drove east from Bathurst to the Jenolan Caves, a popular tourist destination. The family tensions or paranoias had obviously worsened when the daughters Rihanna and Ella also decided to split from their parents. But they did not just walk away or catch public transport, they stole a car. Continuing with their bizarre actions, the sisters then drove south to the New South Wales town of Goulburn, where they reported to police that their parents were missing. After leaving the police station in Goulburn, the sisters decided to go their separate ways at a service station, where Ella wanted to go home and feed her horses, and then drove back to Victoria. Ella was the first family member to arrive back at the family farm on Tuesday night and found police there. Her brother Mitchell would arrive home the following morning, having taken a series of trains. However, in yet another strange twist, because Ella had taken the car, Rihanna had secretly climbed into the back of a utility vehicle in Goulburn, and about an hour out of town was discovered there by the male driver. He immediately pulled over and found her to be in a state of total shock and almost catatonic. She told the driver that she did not know her name or where she was, although this could have been a defensive tactic by making out she was confused because he had caught her in the back of his utility. The driver was obviously convinced that she was suffering from mental illness and drove her to Goulburn Hospital, where she was placed in psychiatric care. By this time, the story had made its way into the media, where the bizarre series of events left Australians scratching their heads. They were asking how a supposedly normal family on holiday had become separated and confused in virtual suburbia. This sort of thing only happened in remote regions such as the vast Australian outback. At all times, they were close to large towns. But the family drama escalated even more when the parents, Mark and Jacoba, left the Jenolan Caves in New South Wales and drove back south towards Melbourne. A day later, 600 kilometres south, in the Victorian town of Wangaratta, they too became separated, where in yet another unusual twist, Jacoba then headed back north. Authorities have no idea what her mode of transport was or how she got there, but the next day, on Thursday the 1st of September, she was found 350 kilometres away, wandering around a town called Yass, which is only 53 kilometres from Australia's capital city, Canberra. She was found wandering around in an agitated state and taken to a local hospital. They later moved her to Goulburn to be with her daughter Rihanna. Mother and daughter were now both being treated for mental health issues. Her husband Mark had decided to remain in Wangaratta, where his mental health appeared to deteriorate like his wife. In another strange act, he was later seen dangerously tailgating a young couple. Meanwhile, police had also begun investigating a number of break-ins in the town, including at a motel, though it's unclear if they were related. But by the way this family were going from disaster to disaster, the break-ins would have been an extension of their weird behaviour over the previous 2 days. The break-ins would have come as no surprise. On Saturday evening, 3rd of September, 6 days after the whole extraordinary episode began, Mark Tromp was found beside a road near Wangaratta Airport. He was questioned by police and then released into the care of his brother, who ironically was a police officer. However, at this stage, you would think he'd be relieved by the whole ordeal. Yet as he was being driven away by his brother, he abused photographers by showing them his middle finger. He later addressed the media, feeling remorseful, and apologised for any hurt or concern caused by the strange series of events. He also thanked the community resources that assisted in his family's aid. While Mitchell and Ella appeared reasonably unaffected mentally, the same could not be said for the rest of the family. It was later revealed that the parents, Mark and Jacoba, had been suffering increasing signs of stress and paranoia. According to media sources, at least one of them had become convinced someone was out to get them and take their money. While Rihanna was not charged for motorcar theft due to diminished responsibility, Ella was charged with car theft. Back at home in Sylvan, Mitchell and Ella appeared before the media. They stated that they were totally baffled by their parents' paranoid behaviour. He said, "I've never seen anyone like this or anyone conduct themselves in this way. He's not dangerous, he's my mate, my father, I love him." In summing up the whole unbelievable saga, police do not believe there was any real threat to the family. Sergeant Mark Knight claims to have known the family and said that there was no history or evidence of drugs. The family had no debts and did not belong to any weird religious cult. Mitchell and Ella Tromp admitted it was hard to explain, but maybe it was a build-up of normal everyday stress and pressure that reached a sudden climax. Police are also contemplating whether the family suffered from collective delusions in an episode of Folie à Deux. The French term meaning madness of two covers a rare psychological condition occurring almost exclusively in close-knit families. Doctors were unable to tell which of them had become psychotic first. It was clear they had fallen into a cycle of reinforcing each other's delusion. Police said no further charges are expected to be laid, and that the issue is now simply a family affair. One investigating police officer from the Sylvan district described it as the most bizarre case I've seen in 30 years of policing.